What did I say? What did I say? What did I say? What did I say? I still said Arsenal win the Premier League after Wolves. Look at what happened. All these people acting like Arsenal are done and they flip flop it every single week. Over dramatic. Oh, they're bottling it. They drew against Wolves. Oh, they're totally cooked. It's like Premier League is rigged. It is absolutely scripted. And by Tottenham losing 1-4, they are mocking the fans in plain sight. They're mocking anybody who thinks Man City are winning the Premier League. They're mocking them in plain sight. By losing 1-4, they're pretty much telling you the 14th title's already happened. Arsenal are winning the Premier League, and nobody is stopping them this season after two draws at the Etihad. The long awaited 3 points at the Etihad is going to happen for Arsenal. I think it is April the 16th or April the 18th. Yeah, it's April the 18th. As a matter of fact, April the 18th adds up to 22 years without a Premier League title. It is all ending. 53 is the very, very big number. That is the year that the Queen was coronated, the Gunner Queen Elizabeth, Queen for 70 years. Arsenal and Gematria equals 70. If Arsenal wins every single game before the EFL Cup final, entering the EFL Cup final at Wembley, Arsenal would be at 70 points in the Premier League table. Man City are going to go on a big winning run in the Premier League, but also so is Arsenal. As a matter of fact, Arsenal have a huge chance to be invincible in the final 11 matches remaining in the season. Who can forget the fact that Arsenal were going for their 53rd points after they had 5 draws and 3 losses? All that is symbolic tributes to the Queen. The 1-0 lead was the 53rd goal scored in the Premier League season. So it shows you how scripted it is for Arsenal to win in the Premier League season ending in the year 2026, because Queen is 26 in Gematria. It's Arsenal that equals 25 in Gematria. The final 3 matches of the year, I can't reiterate it enough. The final match against Crystal Palace, Buckingham Palace, the palace where the Queen lived, that is symbolic. The final match against Crystal Palace, they've sold Benteke, they've sold Eze, they've sold Mark Guehi. Like, you wonder why the supercomputer is giving Arsenal an 80% chance of winning the Premier League, because it is over and dusted. It is over. The second to last match against West Ham, that is the Queen's second favorite team. And who knows if the Premier League is already clinched before Arsenal play West Ham. Maybe they help the Queen's second favorite team avoid relegation. And my prediction to be relegated is Nottingham Forest, the arrogant fat Greek owner who berated Nuno Espirito Santo because they didn't qualify for Champions League despite qualifying for Europe and overachieving. Nuno Espirito Santo managing West Ham is going to relegate Nottingham Forest to the EFL Championship. The third to last match again is the successor. King Charles is a fan of Burnley Football Club. Again, I can't reiterate enough exactly what is represented by those 3 final opponents. Now, why did Liverpool begin the season against Bournemouth? Because what would happen was the next champion would be Arsenal in tribute to the Queen coronated in year 53. This is why Liverpool opened the season against Bournemouth, because 53 is one of the biggest numbers of the season, because again, that's the year that the Queen was coronated, that had her coronation ceremony, became Queen in 52, but was officially coronated in the year of 53. How did Scamacci of Bournemouth tie to the end of the season? Nottingham Forest play their final match against Bournemouth, and Bournemouth, a cherry on top for Nuno Espirito Santo, helps West Ham survive, and Bournemouth are the ones that are going to relegate Nottingham Forest in the final match of the season. Would even come down to Aston Villa, Manchester City, the final match of the season. It will even come down to Aston Villa and Manchester City at the end of the season. Their last match is against Aston Villa. Arsenal get the Chelsea game away with. They beat Chelsea. Man City have to play Chelsea again. They have to play Aston Villa again. They have to play these again. They have to play these teams again. It's much easier for Arsenal now compared to Manchester City. They have to play Brentford. Brentford are a very, very tough team to play against. Manchester City have to play Brentford. Arsenal beat Chelsea. They're in cruise control the rest of the way. Quite frankly, the handbrake was released today. The handbrake was let go. They simply wanted more drama for the scriptwriters in the Premier League. They wanted everybody tuning in the months of March and April, but the handbrake is loose, is let go. They want people to bet on Man City, and finally they're allowed to play freely. And you saw today, this is the way they're going to play the rest of the way. They're going to go unbeaten, in my opinion, the rest of the Premier League season. 91-point finish for the Arsenal if they're allowed to play free flowing football, as we saw today. Simply, they just wanted to get people to bet on Man City. It was all a scripted narrative. Oh, they're going to bottle it again. They're going to bottle it again. They're going to bottle it again. Like they're following the same narrative of previous seasons. And then they want you to think, oh, they're going to bottle it again. And next thing you know, they allow the script to flip after drawing against the worst team in Premier League history. Arsenal, the Premier League final title surge begins against their top two aided rivals in the city of London, Tottenham in North London, and number two, Chelsea. Lakers lost today because this was a humiliation ritual for Pat Riley when they unveiled his statue. But if you watched the post-game video, you knew it was all script. It didn't mean anything at the end of the day. The Lakers didn't try. The referees were against the Lakers. It didn't mean anything. Orlando's 34th. They enter Orlando with 34 wins. This game was a joke. It was a fraud. It was a complete hoax of a game. Celtics are the big favorite entering the finals, like the Warriors were the big favorite over the Cavs in 2016. They know exactly what they're doing, but we're going to be in the finals, and we're going to serve them the can of whip ass that is long awaited, finally due in moments time. Premier League match of the week video is going to be here after we know the final result of Manchester United and Everton, and maybe I'll get into some of the other games rather than just the Premier League title race, like the top four. And for Everton, we're going to look at a European spot. For Everton, they're in the running for the Conference League, so obviously Everton matches are going to be very key matches. The relegation battle, with Tottenham and West Ham and Nottingham Forest. So rest of the Premier League Match of the Week videos, I'll be sure to get into top four relegation and Premier League title race for, instead of just focusing on just Arsenal and Man City like I have in some of the past couple of Premier League Match of the Week videos. But yeah, you see here, City, they play Leeds. I don't think they're going to drop points against Leeds. I don't think they're not going to lose against Nottingham Forest. They're supposed to get relegated. We'll see if West Ham helps Arsenal. That's their biggest chance. Crystal Palace match is postponed. I don't know when they're going to play the makeup game there. This was during the EFL Cup semifinal. I think they already played. Uh, Wolves was canceled, was postponed. They already played that game. That's why Man City have a game in hand. Arsenal get Everton out of the way in March. If they beat Chelsea and Everton, then Man City. They still have to play Everton and Chelsea. So Arsenal are a couple wins away from winning the Premier League. They don't have to play Brentford top half table. Aston Villa. The complete deck is stacked against Manchester City. Did you know it? And I know it. And the Premier League would love nothing but to have two champions outside of Manchester City in back-to-back years, because this means the Premier League is no longer a farmers' league. It is a competitive league with three winners in the past three seasons: Manchester City, Liverpool, and Arsenal. That is what the script writers in the English Premier League are planning on happening. As I told you, they already played Chelsea. They beat them. They will. They will play Everton and they will beat them. This is why the Opta computer is giving Arsenal an 80% chance to win the Premier League, because it is virtually over. And this Manchester City team has proven they can drop points at any given moment in time. Did they put Newcastle to bed? No, they didn't. No, they didn't. They kept in the game. They could easily equalize. This is not the Manchester City that we know, with Kevin De Bruyne and Gundogan and Mahrez and many, many others. Pedri is completely past it. They are done and they are finished. And as I said again, Pep Guardiola is ready to win the World Cup with Yamal in 2030. Pep Guardiola is going to manage Spain. He will have lots of time off. He's won everything at club. It's about the World Cup. It's having more free time, less travel, less stress, a better work-life balance for Pep Guardiola. But managing Spain, managing back at home, and chasing the World Cup, and doing so with Barcelona players at the core of the Spanish national team, it is time to duly accept that Pep Guardiola is going to wait to become Spain manager, like Zinedine Zidane is waiting to become the French national team manager. It is a moment, it is a matter of time that we see this come into fruition. I'll be sure to get into Pep Guardiola to Barcelona, to Spain, because again, Spain is supposed to win the World Cup in 2030. It is simply the end is near for Manchester City. Are they going to win the EFL Cup, or is Arsenal going to try to sweep everything domestically? I already am looking forward to the EFL Cup. At that moment in time, we will see where the narrative is heading. One final trophy for Pep Guardiola in the EFL Cup. Erling Haaland has not won the EFL Cup. Can Erling Haaland win the EFL Cup? He hasn't won EFL yet. Or Arteta can go for domestic treble, just like Pep Guardiola won two domestic trebles. So there are very strong narratives on both sides of that EFL Cup final, but I may have to go with 33. 33 years later, you win this competition again. But there's strong narratives for Manchester City to win this EFL Cup trophy. Then there's the narrative, oh, you lost the EFL. You better not bottle the Premier League. That one is a very strong narrative too. But if we see Man City winning EFL Cup, Arsenal will not bottle the English Premier League. They haven't lost the Premier League match against Man City since April of 2023. That was when Rob Holding was a defensive back in the starting lineup, because I think it was Saliba that got injured. It is over and dusted. Inter have won the Scudetto easily. Bayern Munich, when they defeat Borussia Dortmund, are pretty much going to secure the Bundesliga. Ligue 1 is more interesting. What is left is the UEFA Champions League, and this year I think the narrative is going to be with Harry Edward Kane. So I think Harry Kane's going to head back to the Premier League, either Manchester United or Tottenham, and I think by winning the Champions League, there's nothing left to conquer for the biggest of clubs in the world if you're Harry Kane. So what is left for Harry Kane is Alan Shearer's scoring record. So I think that's where the script is heading. But that's calm down about Mbappe. When's he gonna win Champions League? When's he gonna win Ballon d'Or? It's okay. Mbappe's gonna win Ballon d'Or and Champions League next season. He's gonna win both the Ballon d'Or and the Champions League next season. Mbappe's time is coming very, 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 very soon. Just not in the next couple few months. But Mbappe is going to be on top of the world. Not as far as World Cup championship goes, but from Ballon d'Or and Champions League. Next season's the year Mbappe and Real Madrid are winning Champions League, and I remain completely firm on that, regardless if Arabola is coming back, regardless if Jose Mourinho is becoming manager. If Jose Mourinho becomes manager, maybe that's a bonus, maybe that's not. Maybe this means polarizing figures. It's very bad, but one thing I know is this could be a shaming ritual for the way that the players, basically, the inmates run the asylum. The inmates fired Mr. Shabby Alonso. So this year could be a shaming ritual, but then you trust the leader, you trust the manager, and then it works out perfectly next season. So that's kind of it appeared Real Madrid had matters in their own hands, but then they lost against Osasuna right after Barcelona lost against Girona. If Barcelona can beat Villarreal, then Barcelona are in control. But Real Madrid have got some very easy matches coming up, and this is where the pressure really is on Barcelona. Is it going to come down to El Clasico? Is it going to come down to when Barcelona and Real Madrid play Atletico Madrid? Because it very well could come down to a Madrid derby, or in Barcelona's case, they've already got battered 4-0 against Atletico Madrid. So this very much remains a coin flip, and we'll see what happens. I think both teams play Atletico Madrid before the El Clasico, so we'll see where things are at before May. But one thing I can tell you about La Liga teams is that they are not afraid to attack you. Every single La Liga team is going to attack the best teams in the league. They don't sit in the low block like they do in the Premier League. Low block, park the bus against Arsenal and Manchester City. These La Liga teams, even the very worst of the worst, they're not afraid to play attacking football. So that's why it's very hard to win every match in La Liga, and that's what we've seen. It's a long season, and fatigue is coming. Fatigue happens when you see points drop, as we've seen from Barcelona and Real Madrid in back-to-back weeks. But I still think overall that Barcelona is better this season, and I think Real Madrid are going to have to go through a shaming ritual for another 6 months, another 3, 4 months until they decide who their next manager is going to be. But his very first season, they're going to win Champions League next year. This closes my roundtable for the soccer, for the football, but I think for some of these big matches coming up, I think Arsenal is going to be a solid win over Chelsea at home. I think Bayern Munich are going to dust the league. I like Bodo Glimt to beat Inter. Haaland is heading back to Norway. I think in a year where there's no Serie A team in the knockout, we will see Italia, they'll return to the World Cup. So that's a little caveat with not having a Serie A team in the knockout this season. I think that's all I got. I don't know who's going to win FA Cup yet. I don't know if Arsenal are able to compete for the FA Cup. I think being a Premier League title race is going to be more difficult. Focusing on two competitions. Last year, they had top four sealed. The league was over in February, so that's why it was easier for Arsenal to rest players for the Champions League. It's because they're already clinched top four, and the Premier League was over in February. So that's what made it easy for Arsenal to make it to the semifinal last year. But can they compete on Champions League and Premier League both at the same time? I have my doubts about that. But Arsenal do have an easy draw in the Champions League in the round of 16. It pretty much all depends on how they do in the quarterfinal and the semifinal. And if Man City's able to keep pace, because I don't think they're going to keep pace with Arsenal, they're going to secure the Premier League. Gyökeres' 14th goal with Arsenal gave Arsenal the 2-1 lead over Tottenham today. The key big number is 14. It's Arsenal's 14th domestic league title. Gyökeres is going to start scoring goals for fun if Arteta has let these players go. They're free to be aggressive, to go for it, to attack. Don't be scared of attacking. So he definitely let loose of the handbrake. And that's bad news for Manchester City in the rest of the Premier League. Because everybody says they have the most talented squad. Let them go, let them loose, and let them play football. And the results are going to pay off if that's how you go about it.